Shame. 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 Shame.
Ahoy, tent pirates, plant parents, conscious consumers, and the morbidly curious. Welcome to Cultivation Conversation, a podcast for growers, by growers. Come chat with our hosts, Captain Autoflower, the Real Green Monster, and myself, Girl Go Grow. Grab a bouquet of your favorite flowers, apparatus of choice, and don't forget the fire while I tell you about the special companies that help keep this ship afloat. We are busy people, and we demand the best for our plants, so all three of us automate our grows with Autopots. Available in over 63 countries, gravity-powered Autopot systems rely on no pumps, no timers, and no power to operate. This plant-driven automated watering is so precise, it will reduce consumption of feed while increasing yield. An effective and efficient way to delegate a little responsibility. Let your plants feed themselves. Use code CC10 at autopot-usa.com. If quality is the name of your game, look no further than AC Infinity. AC Infinity's grow tents, lights, accessories, and ventilation systems offer reliability and affordability along with total environmental control. Use code CULTIVATION on acinfinity.com to save even more. Frass Valley produces the highest quality superworm frass. Naturally strengthen your plants and enhance their resistance to pests and disease. Use code CC10 at frassvalley.com. We are big fans of mass hydroponics. Whether you're a local in Massachusetts or accessing their full online catalog, they are your one-stop shop for all of your growing needs. Use code CC10 at mass-hydro.com.
What's going on, everybody out there in podcast land? How are you this evening?
Howdy.
Hello, my darling.
Howdy, howdy. Welcome, everybody in the chat. I see Master Yoda, Strong Island, Woody's 420, Five Baked, Maya Lore, Canna Brad, howdy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Happy Tuesday, guys. What you got going on? Oh, Monster's already having a coughing fit. We know the party has begun.
Yep.
What are you hacking on over there, bud? You got something good in the bowl?
Smoking a J. Yeah.
Must be a spicy one. Is it
This is
let me guess.
anaphylaxis.
I was not going to guess that one.
I wasn't going to guess that one either.
No, this is I don't smoke much of it because it really fucks me up.
Well,
It's like
true to the
sativa.
name, it's going to choke you out.
Yeah, it's very sativa dominant, but it still gives me that like indica effect that I'm looking for, but with a little bit of uplifting. And the taste on it's awesome. It's like kind of cushy, hazy, a little bit of citrus.
He's trying real hard not to cough.
Ooh.
Right now.
Yeah, this shit's took my lungs for hostage.
Well, feel free to cough all you want, man. Just hit that mute button if you can right beforehand, and then remember to unmute yourself too, because we need your input. How
It's
about
like
you?
a lot of things to do.
I know.
Yeah.
Clicking and
You're not my dad.
just asking you nicely. You don't have to listen. Well, yeah. What about you, G3? What you got?
I don't know, honestly. I kind of run into that a lot. So I like to roll J's for the show, but I don't always get through them. So I kind of leave them here. So it's either Goondocks from Goonie Genetics or Strawberry Wedding for Big Green Guy. I think we'll find out in a minute.
So it's either going to taste like strawberries,
It's either going to taste like, because I can't really smell through it.
Boondocks.
Yeah, like
Take
it's
a dry
nothing.
Yeah, give it a little toot toot. See if you get any strawberry.
Toot, toot.
That's Strawberry Wedding.
She
Yeah,
knows.
so Strawberry Wedding for Big Green Guy.
Wedding. Cool.
Fuck that guy.
They're practically
He does good work.
neighbors.
Gotta give him that.
He's a piece of human filth. Of course, I'm just kidding.
One of the paragons of our community, sir. You showed BGG the respect he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So I got something new tonight that I am excited
Surprise,
to
surprise.
break
Tote
into.
number what out of how many?
Oh my god.
We're number 3 out of
I'm still in
9 or something.
I'm not even like halfway through my trim jail sentence. I have trimmed 2 of my 7 plants so far, and just like it's gonna take me a long time. They're just chilling in the totes, doing all right.
Trimming sucks.
In like a cryogenic storage kind of thing, like get to them when I have time. But yeah, trimming fucking sucks. It does.
When I come across people like, oh, I love trimming. I'm like, you haven't grown enough weed yet. It's just that simple.
Exactly right, dude. When you have enough of it, it surely does become a burden.
For the home grower, when you already have a stash backed up and you just harvested, it's like there's no huge motivation to get that shit trimmed up because you just sitting on gaggles of weed already.
I know.
I
got full jars.
Is there any real reason to trim other than, like, you want to trim it before you smoke it?
You don't want to store it
multiple
too long
reasons.
untrimmed, otherwise it'll get hay.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. If it affects the actual plant itself, like what you want to keep. If it's a negative thing to keep it on until right before you smoke it.
I don't know. Honestly,
I always trim my stuff. I plan specifically so I never have more than 2 plants at a time to trim.
Smart. Yeah, looking at 7 of them is daunting. But I got through 2 and enjoying the hell out of them. This one is the second of the 2. It is an Autoflower from 2020. It is that Afghani auto.
Very colorful.
It's chunky.
Chunky baby, yeah. Very, I would say, yeah. I mean, thick boy buds, and it's got like a piney, lemony, zesty kind of note to it on the nose. A little bit of earth, a little bit of that dirt smell. Maybe a touch of gas too in there. Pretty complex, honestly. Like really, really nice looking bud. Yeah, this is fresh out the totes. Let's give her a whirl here. And look, I brought up my hemp wick.
I thought that was a quarter stick.
Yeah, right. My little M80.
I light it with this and then I throw the M80. It's fun.
Reminds me
Like
yeah, dude, fucking
It's a
smoke
Philly
bombs
thing.
as a kid. Was that from It's Always Sunny?
No. It's from my random warped fucking twisted mind.
Okay. Fair enough.
Close enough.
Original material.
Because the people that write that show are pretty twisted.
Oh, dude, definitely. I was watching some of the new season. I think, what is it, like season 16 or 18 or
That show's still.
Yikes.
yeah,
They still make new
they're
episodes?
still making episodes, and they all look like pretty old now. It's
Yeah.
like you're like, oh my
Especially
god, they're not
fucking what's his name? The DeVito.
Oh yeah, dude. Well, it's funny because it's like DeVito's aged the least out of all of them.
Yeah.
He still looks like he did when the show started, more or less. It's all the other guys. You're just like, oh man, the passage of time is brutal. But
He was already old.
yeah, right. He was. Remember him as the Penguin in that like Batman
Yeah, it was
movie of the
one of the
90s?
worst Batman movies ever made.
It really was.
It was uncomfortable to watch.
Is that the one with Michael Keaton?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Terrible.
think so. Was there a Catwoman in that one, or like? It wasn't the one with the Riddler, was it?
No, it was
Jim
Penguin
Carrey?
and Catwoman.
All right. The one with Jim Carrey was like a few years later. It was pretty bad too.
Yeah. Honestly, most of the Batmans were pretty bad. I think they kind of like Dark Knight was really, really good. The second Dark Knight, whatever, it was Dark Knight Rises, is that what it was called? Was decent. Other than that, I could take a leave the rest of them, honestly.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I liked Batman Begins somewhat, just like a little bit of the
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
long-winded backstory. I can get down. But you know, so this Afghani tastes like it smells.
Well, before we go any further, I think we should touch on this. Do you think Batman smokes weed?
Man,
What? How is that even a question?
I don't.
He's a billionaire philanthropist playboy. Of course he does.
I don't.
He lives in a cave, after all. You think he grows weed?
No.
I think Alfred might.
All that bat guano
Alfred
he's
could.
got? Yeah, Alfred's definitely a pothead. That sick fuck.
I mean, Robin definitely tokes. Robin, you know, he's high all the time. He doesn't have an idea of his own. That's why he follows Batman around all the time. Like,
Yeah, because Batman's got the dank in his
like,
pocket.
yo, Batman, you got any more of that bat guano weed that Alfred grew? I don't know. Valid question, man.
So, yeah.
Here's another one. Of all the, you know, the superheroes, who do you think would grow the best weed? Would Batman or Superman grow better weed?
Superman.
With the kryptonite?
Yeah.
Put some kryptonite crystals in his pot?
Yeah.
Harness that energy? Fucking A. Johnny has a good... Johnny's right. He says poison ivy.
She's a villain. She's not a hero.
A skank.
Semantics, G3. Come on.
Dude, you specified.
True.
I brought us down a rabbit hole.
Well, it's a good question. I'm sure we'll have a couple more opinions out there. Yeah, keep them coming, guys.
This joint's still burning strong. I'm loving it.
Well, fuck yeah. You're making me jealous, man. I want a joint now. I just got this bong in my hemp wick.
This is my favorite part of the joint, when it's like half left and it's still burning like a fucking champion. It's barking at me. And I can just keep ripping it. Getting stoned, and more stoned.
Hell yeah.
This is going to be a hell of a show.
I was just gonna say, we actually do have a topic tonight. I mean, we are talking autos once again, guys. I mean, we got Autoflower grow along, the Night Owl grow along with the fine folks over at Your Average Grow.
I gotta go see my boy Rusty.
regular
He's got some
party.
Night Owl beans for me. I
Yeah?
gotta jump in on this.
Yeah, get
Hell
in
yeah,
by
you
the
do.
16th-ish. We're still open.
Oh, we gotta like
Come hang.
overnight you some fucking beans, man. We only got 6 days. I'm sure they'll make an exception for the monster if you really want to get in. But
That's what the ish is for.
16th-ish.
Like, if you need a couple days.
Well,
I'm not
we'll
gonna
talk
be like,
after the show. I got plenty of packs I can just
Word.
share. But so yeah, the Night Owl grow along, great way to like kind of rev your motor back up after maybe some downtime during the holidays, get a new year started, new grow. And it's a quick turnaround. We're talking autos, so like it shan't be longer than 84 days before I chop these plants. You know the rules. So I wanted to kind of just do another rundown of some autoflower tips and tricks that we can all kind of hang our hats on and hope to not stunt our plants this time. We can all take, by 6-7 weeks in, we'll be taking amazing pictures, posting them to IG and Discord. So I wanted to, the first thing I wanted to get into, which the last episode, which was, what was it called? Like, you still suck at growing autos or something. Monsta made a really great recommendation towards the end of the show that I think we can get right into right off the bat, and that is starting them immediately on the bloom nutrients.
Yes. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. I experimented with my last round of Sacred Watch. I was extremely happy with the results. I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer, right? Because people say autos are sensitive to newts, and they are in a certain way, but I think that the thing that they're most sensitive to is nitrogen. And if we can eliminate that right off the bat, now most of your bloom newts, if in fact, all of them that I can think of, still have some nitrogen in it, which the plant needs. You can't cut out nitrogen altogether. Okay. So, yeah, stick with that.
An excess of nitrogen.
Yeah, I think you still get just enough nitrogen. And think about what an autoflower is, right? At its purest form. It's a plant that's going to flower no matter what. It's already has it in its DNA to flower.
Yeah.
So if you can get ahead of the game and pack it up full of phosphorus and potassium instead of nitrogen, yeah.
I agreed, man. Like, I kind of when you kind of convert the life cycle of an auto to a photo period, I think we have discussed it on another show before, but again, it could be someone's first episode listening here. So like, when you look at when an auto starts to flower, it's like what, day 15, day 18, maybe day 21, when you see that first pistil. That's already a week after you've switched, change your light cycle, growing photo periods. Like, you don't see a single pistil for at least like 5 to 7 days after you flip your lights. So you're already at like day 15. At some of the earliest I've seen is like day 13. Some of them start to pop pistils. Like, you're already a week in flower. That means like these things are literally born to bloom, right? Like Bruce Springsteen, like, baby, we were born to bloom.
Fuck
something
that
like that. Yeah, man. Not my favorite artist, but decent enough. If we were doing like a compilation album of Autoflower inspired classic rock songs, that would definitely be on there. Right as you get woken up at 2 a.m. by the commercial of the 1-800 number flashing on the screen. Call now.
That is not a thing anymore.
Join this amazing club where we will send you CDs and cassette tapes. What was that shit called, man? Like, did you guys do that? I mean, I definitely did that back.
Yeah, I did that. Never paid for them.
It was like the Columbia House or
yeah,
something.
Like they send you like 12 CDs for a penny.
Yeah, Columbia House.
And then you're supposed to order more. And then you order one, and then you get it, and then you don't pay for it, and they don't send you anymore after that. It's the biggest fucking scam. Yeah.
Fuck that. I thought it was maybe it was a different service, but I definitely had like some.
There was a couple of them. They had Columbia House, BMG.
Got mailed different albums and cassettes and stuff, but Man, yeah, definitely different times. Holy shit. What's the other one?
Autoflowers.
I'd always wake up to that Enya,
Oh my god.
Sail Away. Yeah, Autoflowers, G3. So the Born to Bloom theory, I think, holds, a lot of water. I've experimented with it myself. In an organic setting, I have, the one soil that I've recommended before called Strawberry Fields is like Fox Farms bloom specific blend. I had great success with that stuff. With my
Not super
orders.
easy to get in some places. I
Yeah, I
cannot
don't
get
think
it.
I've never really even seen it. I've only heard of it.
Strangely enough, like out here in Prohibition Land, that was the one. Like I couldn't find Ocean Forest. I couldn't find Happy Frog. Those were the two I had heard about.
Oh my gosh, they're freaking everywhere around me.
And
I can't get away from them.
I was like, oh, it's Fox Farm though. So I'll buy that. And like this was like my first, second, third grow way back. And I love the stuff. It's like it's a cocoa heavy blend that's like bloom specific. So high on the P and the K, low on the N.
Yeah. And if you're worried about not having enough nitrogen at all, because I mean, a lot of bloom newts do drop your nitrogen way, way down. You can always just throw in some like worm castings. You're fine. Fixed.
Absolutely.
Done.
Worm
Because I did
castings.
that with this one. I have these 2 mango smiles that I was supposed to flip to boys that I never flipped to boys. So now I have them growing in the same tent as these 4 night owls in auto pots. So that's going to be fun. But I have them directly on bloom newts. Went straight there even from the beginning. And I would say that they looked a little nitrogen hungry at the beginning. But give them a tea with some castings and it's fine.
There you go. For sure. Worm castings are one of the best things you could do in like a supplementation kind of setting.
Camera doesn't know
That looks
justice.
good, Monster. What's that? The
I'm in Kava.
anaphylaxis? Oh,
Kava.
Yeah, I'm gonna mix it up and roll up the joint of the cow.
nice. Nice. Yeah, worm castings. If you're deficient on nitrogen, I mean, my favorite product, that bud bread. That's what I would use. If you're seeing a little, N deficiencies popping up, it has a blend of immediately available and like a time release nitrogen. Really, really hard to burn with that kind of
Is
stuff.
bud bread considered veg newts?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's considered kind of an all-in-one formula. Like, I mean, you could just use that. You could.
Then what could you just use coming of age?
No, because there is actually no nitrogen in that. Like it's like a 0,311, I think, on that one. I mean, in like the Born to Bloom theory here, like I would do a very light mix of the bud bread and like maybe double dose of the coming of age, which is the flower specific blend. You don't want to overdo it with any of the nitrogen. It's just you can always add it, but like Monster said, I think we have
those
learned that
sacred
autos
watch
can
I grew
be
were
nitrogen.
super fucking tall. With bloom newts, and the buds stacked hard, and I didn't see much chip burn. I don't know. I think it's a recipe for success with autos,
For sure.
personally.
For sure. Another key component of a recipe for success with autoflowers, I would say, is being like spot on with your seedling stage. The first couple weeks, you really, really, really want to get those down as good as you can. You don't want to stunt the plant at all when it's developing its root system that's going to carry it through the rest of its life.
It's the most important time, really, and I think that's where everybody fucks up. Especially they helicopter over the fucking thing. They leave their humidity domes on too long or whatever, or they overwater, or Just leave the fucking thing alone and let it do its thing for a couple of weeks. I promise you it will come out better.
It is so hard
I'm not
to
gonna lie.
do.
Like, look, I love all you guys, but I see your autoflowers and they're like, how much you getting out of that? Like an ounce and a half, 2 ounces? You can do better than that. I promise you.
Oh man, I see it too, man. These sad looking plants, and they're like,
Yeah, like in the bud,
I might get 2.5 ounces.
Like the bud looks great, and like I'm sure it smokes good, but like, dude, you fucked yourself there, man.
I'm totally guilty of that too sometimes. I just did that to my Dazed. She came out terribly. She like went through huge temperature fluctuations. She was stunted to hell. It was awful. And I've got years and years of experience under my belt, and I knew exactly what I was doing and stunted the absolute ever-loving hell out of her.
It's not hard.
It happens.
We're not coming down so much on you guys out there, like, though you guys do really suck at growing these things. I mean,
it's easy to suck at growing autoflowers.
We're also coming down on, like, you know, we're giving ourselves pointers, because I'm in this grow along now, so I'm trying to give like a refresher course on autos. I am not trying to stunt these things before they're old enough to pop pistols, you know?
Oh man, I'm trying my hardest right now.
So, you know, like those first 2 weeks, really, like Monsta said, I think leaving them very much the fuck alone is going to go a long way. And you like not traumatizing them so they have some serious like mental, you know, hang-ups in later in life. Like a lot of you guys out there probably, like your parents like, fucked you guys up. And
you know what I've come across? A couple of people that have grown autos and they're stunted, as I noticed that their soil is too compact. They have it packed way too tight. And that is something y'all need to look out for. Add something to it, whether it be clay pebbles, perlite will work, but it's like the last thing I think you should fuck with, because it all just floats to the top eventually. But like lava rocks, fucking rice hulls, whatever. Get some more aeration into your medium, a little bit less compost, and don't pack that shit down so tight. Like you shouldn't pack your pots at all. If you want to, I pick them up and put them down.
Top. Yep.
I like
just like tap them, tap them.
Yeah.
Tap.
That's it.
Don't touch the top of your soil.
Tap. Like when you finish peeing, just a little tap, and you're good to go.
Is that what you find,
even from the beginning, I mean, even if you're like packing down your soil enough, even from the beginning, when it's trying to grow that first taproot, it's fighting way too hard and using too much energy to grow too short of a distance. So you are already stunting from the get-go. So even from that, pay attention.
Agree.
You're fucking shit up.
I that's a great point, guys. Like he's got another joint. Oh no. Oh man, that one's big
one too.
That's a big one. Hell yeah, that's a party. But I think how would we describe it? Like the density of your soil in the pots, like
how compact your soil is.
There's a Goldilocks zone. Like it doesn't, you got to fill the pots, but like don't fucking compact that soil. So the plant roots are going to struggle to work their way through it. In the same vein, make sure that your like initial watering is A, thorough, and B, even. Get all the dry pockets completely eliminated. We don't want any dry pockets anywhere in our soil. Where there is a dry pocket, there will not be roots. Right?
Yep. I do that before I put this in too, not afterwards.
It's a spicy joint.
Dude, if y'all ain't on the fucking grow bags, get on the grow bag. I just pulled that shit out. This shit has been sitting here for like 7 months. I haven't grown cauliflower in a while. And
it's still tasty.
fucking beautiful.
Nice. Right on. Right on. Where were we with our autos?
Watering, beginning stages.
Watering, beginning
Something
stages.
I like to do in the beginning too is I'll take a water bottle, poke a hole in the cover, and water around the plant, make it stretch out for that water.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Not just
What do
autos.
you mean? What do you mean?
So and you'd be tempted to water the plant in the middle, like where the seedling is.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times I'll just water like around it in a circle.
2 inches from the base. Yep, at least 2
It makes
inches
it go out and makes the roots reach out and branch out and want to look for that water.
And you mentioned it. That is such a just great like general point for any plant.
Mm-hmm.
Any plant. Like in nature, the plant will typically like shield the rain from like hitting right around the base of the plant. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be like a much drier pocket at the base of the stem because the plant's going to shield the rain from hitting there. Just it branches out, the roots grow stronger, you know. So yeah, I agree. Little concentric circles when you water. From like the outside in, and don't get any closer to that stalk than like G3 said, 2 inches.
At least. Yep.
At least. That is a good point. Another, when they're in the seedling phase, you want to be very conscious of environmental conditions too. At least, if you're trying to grow a big bad, one of these big bad autos that's like 4.5 feet tall at the end, like you can't slow them down at all. So like, watch your VPD in that seedling stage. It still matters, even if they don't have much foliage to be like transpiring from.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
But
That's another thing people overlook. Get your humidity up, especially right now in the winter. It's tough, right? Generally speaking, your humidity is going to be low anywhere you are. Get it up. It's important. Plant can't transpire if there's not enough humidity in there.
Absolutely. And we're talking
especially if you're trying to like keep your lung room or inside your tent warm and you've got heaters running, that's drying everything out really, really fast.
Yes, indeed. True story, G3. I got a space heater, like a little Honeywell, not the ones we recommend, like the radiator looking thing with the like oil space heater. No, I got a little like forced air Honeywell thing. It works, but man, it dry that air out in a hurry. So if you don't accompany that with a humidifier, you're gonna have a bad time.
Right. And if you have a heater in your tent, it's going to dry your soil out faster too. So pay attention to what sides of your plants are closest to that heat source. Rotate regularly, try and keep them away from that direct heat. Make it more ambient whenever possible. And pay attention to your soil because that stuff is going to dry out faster than you think it should.
Good point.
I hate growing them in the winter. I find it so much more complicated.
I love it because I save a lot of wrong.
Yeah, like I think I honestly find it easier. But
I'm able to not have to run air conditioning, right? I can just use extraction. And like my lights are powerful enough to heat up my room during the day. And at night, I need to supplement with a little bit of heat.
I run the opposite way. In the winter, I have to run a heater. But in the summer, I'm in my basement. So it's cool enough down here that it's perfect in the summertime.
Basements are always a great place to grow if they're clean and dry, because you're underground. The temperature is going to stay within 5 or 6 degrees all year round of whatever it is, so it's easy to dial that shit in.
It does get chilly down here in the wintertime now.
Yeah, keep your plants off the floor if you got them down in there. Get some sort of riser or something.
Yeah, I promise you, they don't like cold cement floors.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's all subjective. I guess we all have our struggles. Like, no matter the season.
If we're in the middle of summer, I'll bitch about summer. If we're in fall or spring, I will bitch about those. No matter what, there's always something that's difficult about growing.
100%. Now, little sidetrack off of our auto discussion, because you kind of brought up a little side quest here. We got a shit ton of rain over the last couple days. I don't know if Monster probably got some. Maybe some of it was snow, but my God, it was
torrents for hours,
insane amounts. Yeah, and like crazy floods everywhere still today, all day, and like,
oh my God, the winds.
Yeah, it was
insane.
Nuts.
It was nuts.
So what happens if we're growing and like a fucking hurricane hits or a nor'easter in the middle of January and like your electricity goes out? I mean, what can we realistically do? Is there anything, like, let's say you don't have a generator, like you're in the middle of flower, like worst case scenario. Is there anything we can do except just like, cross our fingers and hope the fucking electricity comes back on soon?
Well, you can have some battery-powered lights on backup, and those aren't going to really help your plants photosynthesize, but what they will help is keep the plant on cycle. And it doesn't take a lot of light to keep the plant awake from falling asleep. So if you do lose power and your lights are supposed to be on, get in there with some battery-powered LEDs and throw them in there. You can do that too. Look, a power inverter is not that expensive. You can get one and connect it to your car, but you're limited most of the time on how much you can actually draw from those things. You're not going to be able to run a whole tent unless you have like one of those like electric cars. They're a bit different, like the Ford Lightning.
Yeah, like maybe a higher voltage output or something. He says he still lost it all. That sucks, man. Like, I guess it depends like how badly you get hit. Like, I think in a lot of cases, man, if you don't have a generator, you're probably just fucked. I hate to say it.
Look, if you're known to lose power, get yourself a fucking generator. They're not that expensive. You can get like a 5,000 watt generator for $500 or $600.
Yeah,
they're not that
tent with that. Like, sorry, hun, we're not plugging the fridge into this. We're in mid-flower. I can't. We're not doing it. Nope, we're saving the girls.
Nah, I got a Generac, so I'm lucky. That's propane powered, full house power. When I lose power, within 5 seconds, backup power's on, and I run completely as normal. But that came with the house, So, because if somebody I wouldn't probably put it in myself. It's quite expensive. You're looking at like 10 grand, generally speaking, for your average home. But a regular run-of-the-mill Harbor Freight generator will fucking do you just fine.
Cool, man. Well, I got hit with a lot of flooding in my basement, so it had me think. You were talking basements and growing in the basement, man. If I had an active grow in my basement right now, would have been bad news bears.
That happened to me one time, and it was awful. It was awful.
What happened?
Cleanup was disastrous.
Oof.
Yeah, because it gets underneath your tents, and it kind of soaks into some of the fabric of them, and drying all of that out and making sure nothing like mildews or molds is it's just so much cleanup. It is a pain. Yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you know that you have water issues near your grow, figure something out before you're in that situation.
For sure. In my case, I had a sump pump failure. It was a nightmare.
And there's chances you're going to run into it at some point or another. Some natural disaster is going to hit your grow.
Amazon has sump pumps pretty cheap. Don't go to Home Depot or Lowe's.
All right, word. Good to know. I'll use code CC10 before I check out too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends if and when you get hit, guys. I mean, I think there's a varying degree of like natural disasters that we could all like kind of imagine ourselves having to deal with. Depends where you live. I guess our best advice is just be prepared. Know your region and how susceptible you are. Be prepared to a certain extent, but like after, shit, if the grid goes down for a couple weeks, ain't no saving those plants,
Mm-hmm.
Though if you do have a good enough generator, then you'll be the only one with a crop after so long. You know what I mean? Like post-apocalypse scenario, you'd be like sitting on a mountain of weed. Like a few months later, you'd be like, you could sell
Or
that
solar
for
with
gas.
a battery backup. That's even better.
Yeah, they have those like little jackery things they call them
There you go.
with the little battery backup. Why not?
For sure. For sure. All right, so back to the autos. Another key, don't fuck your plants up kind of tip from me, and it runs in the same kind of thought process as like leave them alone. We want to put our light at the top of the tent at 100% from the get-go. We want to let our plants grow into the light. Grow into the light. What was that movie? Fucking Poltergeist?
Poltergeist. So good. I love that one.
Really scary.
So good.
Yeah, so we're allowing our plants as much light as they want from the get-go. They determine kind of how much they're going to get and grow up to like whatever point they feel is necessary. In my experience, I've always had way bigger autos doing that method with my lights than trying to like adjust the dimmers or how far away the lights are from the canopy. I think you're just top of the tent, 100%, let them go.
It's the easiest way. I mean, if you like fucking around with your light, by all means, but at least use something like Photon or a Apogee or something to make sure you're measuring what you're doing and not just doing it because it feels right. I don't know. There should be some method to the madness.
I like not having to think about it,
Yeah.
I
do too. I just leave it alone. One less thing to fuck with.
I think even without a photon or any kind of measurement, we can trust that a properly sized light for the space you're growing in is going to provide enough light and for your plants at all stages of their growth. Like, and we're talking like in the 30 to like 40 watts per square foot range is it's not a great way to measure your light, but like it's pretty general. It gives you like a ballpark, like how much watts, how many watts should my fixture be?
Now, I'm generally running multiple fixtures in a room. Like, for instance, I have a room with 3 480s in it. I only turn on 2 of them during the beginning stages, and I kind of bunch the plants together a little bit. And that's just because I know those 2 lights are more than enough to get things going. But they're up at the top, cranked up. And then generally, as soon as I see the plant shoot off its first set of leaves, I'll spread everything back out, put them in their final resting place, and turn on the last light. And, let them fucking go.
Yeah. Now, that being said, if you do have an undersized light for your space, then by all means, drop it down.
That's not going to work. Yep.
And make sure that your plants are getting enough light.
For sure. Though, you could play like, if you're trying to grow a really tall, though maybe it'll be a little lanky kind of plant, like let the seedling stretch a little bit, looking for a little bit more light than you're giving it.
It's a dangerous game, Cap. That's a dangerous game.
Just let that thing look for light, If you, and then gradually ramp up the lights as it grows, week 1, week 2, week 3, you're like maybe turning them up 10, 20% each week.
The more it's
Seems
stretching
logical.
above the soil, the less energy it's using to grow roots below the soil.
Look, we know how I feel
That's a
about
good
dimmers.
point. That's a good
I
point.
fucking hate them. They tax your light.
Wait,
Shit
what
is a
do you
brick.
hate?
Dimmers.
Oh yeah, that's the weak link in the chain, man.
It really is. You could have the baddest, best light on the fucking planet, and the dimmer inside of it sucks hog. Okay?
You got to get one of
I
those
promise you
like
that.
electronic like light controllers.
Yeah, that's
way
the
better.
only way to really do it like the right way. But then I've even seen those fail as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't trust dimmers. Like if you want to give your plants less light, just raise your light higher. And if you want to give your plants less light than that, get a different fucking light. I like look, we're talking about it, like your plants are small, right? I see so many people fucking with lights and like, oh, how many inches do I put it away? And this, if you just try it. If you haven't done this yet, just try it. Take your light, put it at the top of the tent, crank that bitch up, and just try it. Let's see how you do. I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised with your results.
you might not be pleasantly surprised with your electric bill. I mean, that's
Truer words have never been spoken.
that's the one catch. But you know, the sacrifices we make to grow the dank. It's just when they send you the bill and it shows you like how much more you use than your neighbors.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's always
I'm just
funny.
like,
I always get a good laugh.
Oh geez.
I see those and I go, ooh, I win.
Like,
I win.
I am certainly not like I am definitely using my share of electric. I'll tell you that much. I'm not conserving. But
Yeah,
gotta do what you
that
gotta do.
first electric bill after you start growing is kind of a rite of passage. But it hurts a little bit.
You're right. You're so right. No pain, no gain, G3.
I'm telling you, honey, I promise you, it's worth it.
Dude, I thought it would go. Honestly, I thought it'd go up less than it did. Like, it's not like. Listen, I spent way more money at the dispo before I started doing this hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Way more.
I was just having this discussion with my friend. Like, we were willing to set him up with like a light and stuff. Like, he needed to spend like $300 or $400 to get set up, like full 4x4, and he just wouldn't pull the trigger. He's like, I just can't afford it. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, dude, how much you spend at dispensary? He's like, yeah, well, that would mean I would have to not spend that at a dispensary for a month. I'm like, I don't know, man. You got to figure it out because it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
you know?
there was that first like 3 months where I was growing. I didn't have any harvest yet, and I was still buying weed at the dispo. That was painful. You invest in your equipment, and you're like hoping for that harvest, and it hasn't come yet. But we're past that, way past that. But I think there are a lot of expenses in this hobby. One of the primary being your electric bill. And then if you have a seed buying addiction, like that's a whole other story,
Yeah, that's a different fucking story
But
altogether.
You can be as thrifty as you want. At the end of the day, I was smoking enough to make this hobby well worthwhile for me. I was spending way too much money at the dispo, so it was kind of there was no way it couldn't be worth it, sort of. So.
And if you aren't already on a budget electric bill and your electric company provides that, where they like balance it out over the year, if you're a beginner grower just starting growing, make sure that you're doing that, because then you have 12 whole months until they balance it out again. And that's a problem for future you. So
yes. Always put the problems onto future you.
Yeah, it's the American way.
Because that, honestly, you know what? Future you might not even be there. I hate to sound like a downer,
Mm-hmm.
That's my retirement plan.
It's retirement shit.
Early onset death.
Yeah,
That's your.
that's my retirement plan.
There you go.
What are you gonna do when you're 80?
Oh,
I'll be dead.
I
Die.
ain't gonna live that long. It's actually a smart retirement plan. Shit, you want to be like realistic, economical about it.
Every day is a gift.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it is truly. So yeah, like back to these autos, guys. Back to these autos. I think the top of the tent, 100% method, tried and true. Give it a whirl, see how it works for you. Don't come crying to me about your electric bill. Another great recommendation I have. They're not necessarily a tip or a trick. A heartfelt recommendation. Though some of you may vehemently disagree, I think a dark period is essential for your autoflowers.
If you do it right.
Big and healthy.
If you do it right.
And what would you mean by doing it right?
Well, the dark period, right? So what's your dark period? At the end?
No, I mean like a light cycle dark period. Like
oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Like
you mean like a sleepy time?
Correct. Yeah, not a
lights
24 hours on light schedule.
When you say dark period, that makes me think of that 48 hours before chop of darkness. But I understand what you mean by that.
Well, let's call I don't know. We'll have to think of a different term for the
No, dark period does make sense. My brain just didn't go there.
Yeah,
so yes, your lights out.
Nighttime.
I've done it both ways, and I've seen no discernible difference in the plant either way. So that would just tell me like there's no need to run the lights 24 hours a day. We just talked about light bills, right, and how expensive it is. Well, if you could save 4 hours of running your lights, I think you should do it. With that being said, though, like for real, like I've tried it both ways, and I've seen no discernible difference. The plants are completely happy in 24-hour light. They just keep going like nothing ever happened. Eventually, they will just droop anyway, right? Because they've just had enough.
I can't possibly agree that a plant in light 24 hours with no time off from that particular process. Like, plants must have different processes going on in daytime and at nighttime. They must.
I find that like most of the growth will happen at nighttime too. Like
I've grown monster fucking plants with like 24 hours of light. I've seen no discernible difference in the health or size or anything when it comes to with autos. Anyway,
I just can't imagine they'd be happy.
I don't know.
Way. That's just my personal opinion.
Some of the biggest plants I've ever grown were in 24-hour light. Really, now that I think about it, but I don't think it. Again, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Save a little money on your electric bills. Save some tax on your equipment. All right, I recommend 20. People ask me, I just recommend 20 on, 4 off.
That's my.
I think it's
go-to.
so humorous that everybody always says 20 on, 4 off, or 18 on, 6 off.
Well, since those are your standard cycles.
I do 19.5 just to be
because you're a rebel.
Obnoxious. Yes.
Yeah, I've been. I think they're all the same basically.
Yeah. If you really want to save money, you can go 16.8. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just don't start once you're at 14.
Yeah, once you dip below 14, you're going to risk the plant flower.
Now we're getting crazy. 17 and a half and 6.5.
I love it. Yes.
Man.
I'm more of like a 17 and 3/4, like 6 1/4, But yeah.
I approve.
It's very funny. Definitely will recommend that as a light schedule. I know you can do it, Monster. I don't know if you will even see a difference. I don't know if there will be a visual difference. But like G3 saying, I think there has to be some process, some plant process that only takes place during the dark that's going to influence like the
I just don't see it. I
terpenes,
mean, like for
the
instance,
trichomes.
like
There has to be.
like I know for a fact Mephisto grows their autos in 24 hours of light. They don't give their plants a dark cycle.
Are they? But I mean, are they growing theirs at a warehouse for like breeding purposes, or are they growing them for
Well,
like
both.
to make them as dank as possible?
Both. I mean, if you go back, all you got to do is go back to the forums, with Brad and them talking about Mitch talking about like how they consume, and they've kind of said the same thing. They've noticed no discernible difference between giving an autoflower a dark cycle or not. The only reason that they do run 24 hours just because it's easier for them to control the environment that way.
Fair enough. I mean, yes, when lights go out, like you will have a much more difficult time to like achieve a stable environment. I agree with that. And if there is no discernible difference, then if you're having like environmental control problems, like then fucking run 24 hours of light. Like if that's a solution for you, go for it.
I think that's something that actually that a grower will struggle with the most is the nighttime
dark cycle environment. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because at first they don't even realize what's going to happen, right? They didn't pay attention that day in science class. When the temperature goes down, the humidity goes up, and it's a recipe for disaster in your grow. Most people don't even think about maintaining a nighttime temperature. They just shut their lights off, and whatever happens. No, seriously, like that's 90% of the grows I walk in on, and I ask them how they do things, and then I'm like, all right, so what happens at night? Oh, the lights go off. Okay, do you have a dehumidifier? No. Do you have a heater? No. Wow. I mean,
what are you trying to achieve then? Like in your environment when the lights go out, like are you just trying to keep it as similar to the lights on environment as possible?
I want a swing of no more than 10 degrees and no more than 15-20% humidity swing.
I can understand some kind of control, but we're theoretically trying to reproduce nature as closely as possible inside. So outside, it definitely drops in temperature at night, and it definitely gets a little more humid. So, sometimes it's significant. And I don't know, like, you've seen the plants, they naturally, like, raise and lower their leaves in preparation for lights out. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I would just, why would we step so far away from the most basic element of growing? The cycle of the sun. If we're trying to replicate nature on the inside.
I don't think a lot of growers aren't really trying to replicate nature at all. Like, I mean, we're putting them in as artificial of an environment in a lot of cases as we can, and then like pumping them full of salt fertilizers and like demanding that they produce like way too many flowers for the size of the plant. Like they're bred to like be kind of like overabundant in their flower.
That's why you do you kind of works here, like this plant can be whatever you need it to be. If you want this to be if your tent is a shrine to the mother goddess and you're trying to replicate everything from sunrise and sunset to living soil to big no-till beds, then that's very different than somebody who's looking for some other aspect out of their grow. So to each their own.
Amen. I think, again, which is just like my opinion, man, that a dark cycle, like bedtime, sleepy time for plants is a good thing. I am on board with the sleepy time for plants. But I know it's like people have, like, this is honestly one of the things I hear a lot.
I think it's important for photo periods.
About it a lot. People get heated about it.
But not necessarily for autos.
Well, that's the debate is like, we're talking about autos now. We're like, I think, so Matsu, you mentioned like, even when you have them on 24 hours of light, you will see at some point the leaves start to like droop, right? Like
Generally,
they've had
yeah.
enough, right? And then you
Yeah.
just keep pumping them with light, and eventually they just like perk right back up. Is that what happens?
Yeah, that's
Like,
exactly
but
what happens.
why would you not like respond to that signal of plant stress? Why would you not like?
Just because it's easier to just leave it at 24 hours. If you're dealing with a situation where it's hard to control the environment, leaving the lights on 24 hours a day is just so much easier. Like I just said, if you're having issues with environmental control, nothing easier than just leaving the lights on 24 hours a day. And this guy here brought up a good point.
It is.
Ruderalis was bred, in 24-hour light. Its origination is from that. I don't think it really fucking matters at all with autos. Photos is a different story. Like you wouldn't want to veg your photos in 24-hour light. I don't think that is doing you any favors. You're definitely wasting money that way. But
I know that autos are built to handle that much light. If you put your photo periods in 24-hour light for veg, would they freak out?
No, because I've done it as well in the wintertime.
I don't think so.
No, I think that you get like a little bit of a more lankier plant that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's quite as strong, I would say. But I haven't noticed a difference with autos. And
Interesting.
And that being said, it's in the same process. Like if I have no issues controlling environment for that dark period, I will go to like a 20 or 20 and 4 with autos, just because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, because I haven't noticed that much of a difference either way, positive or negative. So to me, it just isn't worth it to pump them with that extra light. That's just kind of a waste.
I hear you. If you're gonna go down that route of just pumping them with light because you can, you may see like denser buds. You may find a more early ripening plant. You have to always read the plants. We read and respond to the plants as growers. And yeah, if you're going to amp up the lights, you're going to have to amp up everything else.
Everything, yeah. You're going to have to feed more.
That's the key.
Food,
is like
water, everything.
More water, more food, more attention, more. I don't know. It's just everything has to be in balance. You can't just crank up the lights and then not give it more nutrients, because it's gonna be photosynthesizing more then. So it's. Don't put your foot on that gas pedal unless you know what you're doing, right?
Correct. And look, if you're cranking your lights on 24 hours a day because you're having trouble maintaining your environment, look into getting a heater or a humidifier. Like, for instance, that heater you were talking about, you have the forced hot air one. Those are great, not only for heat, but also dehumidification purposes. If you're having, if you're having a hard time controlling humidity, heat will help you. Especially those dry air heaters. Like there's a technology we use in larger grow rooms with HVAC systems called reheat, where we don't even run dehumidifiers. We run reheat. We let the air conditioners take care of that with heat, as opposed to dehumidification. It's much more dependable and cleaner, with less swings. It's not really it's not practical at all for the home grower, because you're not going to be running it through your home's HVAC system, right? But so heat can help you, and it's a lot easier to heat up a space sometimes and much quicker than, like, for instance, if you wanted to use that, if you put that on a control, like a humidity controller, like an AC Infinity or something, and you actually had that set to come on and off based on humidity parameters, it would work really well.
I have to agree. It sounds pretty a pretty easy way to do it. We got a good question here from Master Yoda. If you grew an autoflower in 10-hour light cycles with 2 hours off and gave it its full
I was waiting for somebody to
DLI
bring this up
in each light cycle, Like you like split your day into like 2 half days, right? So you got a 10-hour.
The answer is yes. It would
2-hour
work.
lights off. Could you grow an autoflower in half the time? Is the question.
Oh, not that. No.
Like
No.
I which I would agree with. I think it would work. Like I don't think the plant would behave any differently.
No, there are people that actually veg their plants like this, but it's like a 2 on, 2 off, or some shit like that. Like
that anaphylaxis.
So
I forget what that's called too. That's used in like some other parts of cultivation, other plants, like intermittent light cycles, or like splitting the day into a couple parts to either prevent or induce some sort of fruiting or flowering cycle. You all right, Monster?
I don't think
yeah. No, I was looking because there's different light cycles that I've seen people run with cannabis, and that's what it's referred to as intermittent light cycle. I was trying to look for the exact time, but it's like on off, like multiple on off light cycles, and it can actually help speed up your veg time, at least in theory.
Really?
Yeah. But here's the thing with like this is where I'm gonna disappoint you. In my experience with autos doing that type of shit, like for instance, throwing an auto in a flower room, right, where it's only getting 12 hours of light, which I've done multiple times, they don't get as big and they take longer to finish. So I don't know if doing this with the 10-hour light cycles, and I don't think it would speed anything up in the plant at all. I mean, I could be wrong.
I mean, honestly, like, you got to fuck around and find out now.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Really,
Somebody should do this.
Now I'm wondering, like, would
Yoda, you're very tech savvy. You got the means. He's got a nice setup. I recommend you give it a shot. See what happens. Like, even if you just do it
you can grow an auto with 12 and 12 light cycle. But what if we just did like just a series of 12 and 2s? You know what I mean? Or like a 10 and 2. 12 and 2. Like that would equal out to be about the same light cycle you'd want for autos. It would just like divide the day into kind of 2 parts. But in doing that, would you like kind of force the plant to behave like days are shorter? Would it respond and being like, oh, well, lights, days are now 12 hours, 14 hours.
So do you think you're asking if it would like droop in preparation for nighttime?
No, I mean, like, would you be able to harvest it in like 42 days as opposed to 84?
I don't think so, because it still requires a specific amount of energy in order to produce what's required of it in its life. So
it's just an overall,
whether it gets
like,
that
DLI.
in one fell swoop during the day or in 2 shorter chunks, it's still the same amount of energy that's required. I think the difference would be negligible, and the only thing you might lose in doing the 2 shorter periods is that it takes a certain amount of energy to switch from daytime processes to nighttime processes and back again. So by forcing it to do it twice in a cycle instead of just once, I feel like it would slow things down. So I think that if you split it into 2, you'd have a slightly smaller plant, but it would still take the same amount of energy.
Now, I'm high as fuck, so take this into that in consideration.
We all are.
But like, this is spinning in the wheels of my head, and like logically, I'd like to say, and this is my hypothesis, that it would finish quicker. It wouldn't be like half, like dramatically, because that's just ridiculous. But I think I'm going to conservatively say that you could probably knock 10%, maybe 15% of your time off.
And like,
that's what seems logical to me. Yeah.
I think what he's also saying is that like, if in each one of those then divided, lights on periods. You're giving it like a full dose of DLI, like a full day's worth. If you didn't divide the light cycle in half, like what if you doubled the DLI in each one of those shortened lights on periods?
You can't just double it. You can't just double the DLI. There's only so much the plant can take without burning it.
I mean, so is that a thing with autos? There's another question. Like, do we worry about our DLI with autoflowers? I mean, you can certainly have like too much, like PPFD. You can have like way too much light in a tent. But if we just give it, like, if we shorten our lights schedule, then can we counterbalance that? Can we, like, if you just, do you see what I mean? Like, if you blast the hell out of your auto for 10 hours and then give it like a 4-hour dark period and then turn the lights back on for 10 hours, blast the hell out of them way more than you would normally, like, maybe it will shorten the
I think somebody needs to fuck around and find out.
I don't know.
Yeah, the problem is you'd have to do it with autos, because if you try to do it with photos, they'd end up flowering.
Yeah, I'd like to see you pull it off, Master Yoda.
Try it out, dude. Think like maybe we just found a shortcut.
It's interesting.
Like way too high.
One of like your uncle's shortcuts where you just end up like driving around.
Dude, I'm telling you, I know for a fact that this will take the time off their travelers, man.
Yeah, an hour
later. This is my
later,
second kid, so
going.
I'm fucking heavily medicated right now.
Yeah, man. It's like you got my noggin jogging, Master Yoda. It's funny. Good question. Yeah, guys. Are there any other? I'm asking everyone in the audience. You know, do you have any other auto-specific tips you want to share with us? Anything like secret sauce you got?
Just the tips,
spill
please.
The beans. And what about you guys too? Do you have any tricks of the trade?
Keep it simple.
Yeah, I want to reemphasize that. First 3 weeks of that autoflower's life are crucial. Again, my beginner tips: don't overwater, because you're gonna fucking do that. I know you. I'm talking to you. You know who I'm talking to. Don't overwater. Don't have your soil too overcompact, and don't burn them. If it's funny. Like, I've seen more burnt autoflowers with people growing organically because they think that they can't burn their plants. Stop it. This is nonsense. You can burn your plants organically.
It's harder to do.
It is and it isn't. Like these little seedlings get burnt so easily. I see it happen all the time. You look at it, like, every edge of the leaf is fucking yellow, and it's just burnt and sucking inside of the bud.
One of the things, honestly, I think you got to be more on the lookout for if you're an organic grower is, like, be careful with your mycorrhizal usage, especially in the seedling stage. Like, we've all had that experience where, like, you get it in the wrong place. Like, that will kill a seedling if you get it on the plant itself. Like, it's not meant to go there.
No, it's meant to go on the roots.
Yeah. So be careful. Just saying. If you put it in like a water bottle, make sure make sure you wash that out and refill it with just water before you use it to, like, spray a seedling or anything like that. I've made that mistake. But man,
label everything.
What's that again?
Label everything.
Yeah, labels. Agreed.
And maybe don't, if you need to use a sprayer for multiple different things and you're rinsing and reusing, maybe just get another sprayer. Use something different for it.
Yeah, they're like $2 at Home Depot, even with inflation. They're not that expensive. And don't buy the ones from Dollar Tree. They suck. They're literally a waste of money because they always break. Like, ask me. I bought 6 of the things before I finally said stop. It's like the definition of insanity. Because literally, all right, yeah, it's tempting because it's $1 or $1.25 now, right? But like the quality one at Home Depot, like the commercial Zep sprayers, they're like $3. Just fucking buy that one. A spray bottle is so handy in the grow room. I mean, have a few of
Get
them.
4, label them with different things.
Yep, 100%.
I agree, guys. 110%. How do you feel about that?
Okay.
Above and beyond, sir.
So, Monster, you just mentioned like the pillars, I think. You know, the 3 or how many was it? There's a couple pillars of not fucking up your autos. And they are: don't overwater, don't overpack your medium. That was in there too, right? Yep. And then don't burn your plants, whether it's by too much light or too many nutrients.
Yep.
Mostly it's too many nutrients. I mean, really, yeah, those are 3 of the core tenets. For sure.
All of it boils down to there's too much of a good thing. Don't overlove your plants.
Yeah, I agree. Autoflowers are meant to be automatic. They will do their thing and thrive with or without your input. Actually,
true story. That's what they were referred
without.
to before Autoflower. It was automatics.
Right?
Strong, independent women.
They are.
Don't suffocate them.
They need their space.
Drown them.
They need their space for sure. And like the things that you do to overlove them end up being more traumatizing than beneficial. As I'm sure many parents can attest to.
Yeah, 5. That's what you want to do with your autos. Let them grow into stronger soil. Start out.
So the question is, do you plant in lower nut soil and let them grow into richer soil, or is it all one kind?
Yes. Yes and yes. Yes and no. Soil is, I mean, I look at soil as there's hot soils and there's not hot soils, you know?
Yep.
You kind of have to, I mean, how do you know which is which? We rely on other people's testimonials. We can read what's in the bag, but like ultimately it just gives you a little percentage, you know? It'll say like 0.005% nitrogen and just very, very low numbers, right? So what does that really mean for us? I think you just have to rely on like consensus of the community at that point. Like, you know, there's a list of not hot soils I could give you, like Happy Frog, right? I would say is a primary one on that list, or the strawberry fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not
Coco
hot.
Loco.
Good. Yeah, the Coco Loco.
Yeah, and if you want to,
or even like a more inert stuff like Pro Mix.
Yeah, Pro Mix is perfect because it's peat based, right? If you want to maintain that soil thing that you got going on there, it has a little mycorrhizal for shizzle in there.
Mycorrhizal for shizzle,
and it's inert, right? So it would make a good top layer to your pot, right? You need more than you think, at least, you know, because I tried this experiment with the water-only cocoa, and I put inert cocoa on top, but not nearly enough. And I stunted my autoflower, got burnt, and it just wasn't happy with life. So,
do you know what I've started doing?
What's that?
Is I use this instead of like a layer of cooler soil and then a layer of hot soil underneath it. I do the same thing, but in the center, I do a column of cooler soil all the way down. And I think this was originally thought up by, I'm sure it was, I don't know. I originally heard it from Stony Alpinist, so that's who I followed it from.
Instead of like
the column all the way down in the center, so your taproot stays in the cool soil all the way down, because the taproot doesn't really send out feeder roots. So then the feeder roots go out into the richer soil and bring everything back.
Have like that seems like a pretty challenging thing to do. Where you would need
No,
some
I
sort
have
of like tube or something.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
yeah,
A
like a
tube.
pipe, like a PVC pipe. You stick it in the middle
Yes.
and you backfill around that, right? And
Yep.
then
Or
you
like a bowl or something you
yeah.
put in there, like a
Yeah. You can even, if you're really good, like do it as you fill up. You know, if you have the two different soils next to you, you can have it and then kind of like spread out the center and keep it cooler on the inside and then rebuild up. But yes, I use just a PVC pipe
You know,
and it
I have
right down the
thought
center.
of that. Like as I'm doing it, I'm like, really, you want like the center of the pot. Like if you're doing it right, like yeah, you want that not so hot soil to be going all the way down.
Yep.
But do you? Because like when we take the plants out of the pots at the end after harvest, like there's roots all throughout that soil down there, right? Like it's solid ball of roots, usually for me. So they definitely put out feeder roots. They're definitely like utilizing that hot soil that's at the bottom.
I think
don't
it's just a preventative to make sure you're not shocking your taproot at any point and causing any stunting that way.
That's a good thought. I like it.
I think it is a good thought, but by the time the plant gets big enough, it's not going to matter. Like it could take that shit.
More or less, like, I think by the time the plant's like 10 days old, 12, 14 days old, it's going to be growing into the hot soil wherever it is in your pot. You know what I mean? Like it's really just for that like very beginning of the seedling stage. Like it's like it's brand new. It's like looking around the world like, oh my God, where am I? How the fuck did I get here? What is my purpose? And you're just trying to like pump it full of nutrients and organic shit. It's just like sputters
I would
out
at
a
least
little bit.
certainly dig down at least a little ways. And at whatever point your cool soil mixes with your hot soil, make sure it's not just like one sitting on top of the other. Like mix them together a little bit so there's some gradation in there. That will at least help with any shock that could potentially be there.
I like it. One more here question in the chat. We got Cap, did you switch your top layer of soil from Coco Loco to Strawberry Fields? No, I didn't. I'll be honest, I find that Coco Loco and Strawberry Fields are very similar. The only difference is they say the Strawberry Fields is formulated for flower. That probably means there's more P and K in there than in the Coco Loco. The Coco Loco, I would say, has more like compost mixed with more earthworm castings, that kind of stuff. A little bit heavier of a soil ultimately. In the auto pots, for any kind of like butt chugging style watering, like that really light, super aerated soil blend is what you're looking for. So I hope that answers your question. And yeah, guys, we're about to hit like an hour and a half. So let's wrap it up for tonight, shall we?
I'm high as a motherfucker.
I know you are.
I went to 2 fat cannons.
Absolutely. Well, do we have any new Patreons? Shit.
I don't believe so this week.
Well, then let's skip that segment for this week.
Well, we love the Patreons that we have, so thank you so very much, my darlings. You guys are wonderful.
Thank you, G3. We do. We have such a great group of growers, smokers, listeners, stalkers, all of the above. Yeah, like they're all our friends. Whether they listen to us for growing knowledge or just because they're lonely and just need a friend or two. Like we're here for that, guys. Like whatever you need us for. Just no stalkers, please. Yeah, 5 baked. I see you out there. But yeah, guys, it's been fun. We appreciate you listening live. We appreciate you guys coming over and hanging out in Discord with us. I don't know about you guys, but that's where I find myself checking first these days. I don't go on IG first anymore. I go to Discord.
I
Oh
just
my gosh, I don't go to IG
started
at all
posting
anymore.
on IG again.
Isn't that
I
funny?
need to. I feel bad. I haven't been there in a while.
Fuck
Isn't that
IG.
funny? Instagram, had its day in our community, but like, I
They make it impossible for us
Discord-
to post, and lo and behold, we don't want to post. Funny how that
Right.
works.
Right. I just made a new YouTube video. If you're
Yay!
I watched.
there, you go. There's a lot of what we talked about last time. Thanks, but yeah, go check it out if you didn't hear enough of my voice. Got some more on YouTube. And until next time, guys,
Keep in touch with yourselves.
do that. Grow on, and yeah, don't get caught.